This is Presenting with Presence. Hello, I'm Cindy Tonkin. Let's get into it. So you already know that just 2 seconds of watching someone on video is enough to make a judgment about their competence, about their ability as a teacher, and that the ratings don't change whether you've got 2 seconds or So in today's video, we're going to look at the 3 shifts that move people from being ordinary to being extraordinary in terms of presence and presentations. Here we go. There is a workbook, by the way. You can download it at tinyurl / let me get the exact reference here. The tinyurl / presence 0503. So here's the first shift. Check out these course ratings. This particular researcher, whose name was Professor Secchi at Stanford, I believe, here's his course ratings between fall and spring. He actually made sure that every single word he said was the same, and that everything else was the same text, the same grading system, and he had it double checked by researchers to make sure that he was not in any way misrepresenting himself. He made one shift, and his course rating, as you can see there with the blue circle, went from about a 2.5 out of 5 to a 4 out of 5. People rated that they learnt more, they got clearer goals, they felt he had fairer grades, and his text was higher quality, and he just made one shift. The instructor himself was actually rated as more knowledgeable, more tolerant, more enthusiastic. Look at the incredible difference in enthusiasm. More accessible and more organised. Now, this is what presence does. And one of the biggest shifts that Professor Secchi, by the way, this is what he looks like. The big thing he did, he gestured more enthusiastically. That was it. The shift is essentially this, moving from nervous to excited. Gesturing more enthusiastically makes a difference to that. You might think that you're actually very excited up there, but apparently we can all shift. Test it out. See what happens. It's your turn to think about this. How are you going to do that? Take a moment, write it down. I'm going to move us on. We're going to go from self-obsessed now to audience focus. If you believe that the meaning of your communication is the response that you get, then it's not whether you feel nervous. It's whether your audience perceives that you are nervous. If you can work your nervousness and excitement to excitement, if your audience perceives that you are better, you're better. So essentially what happens when we start to pay attention to what's the audience doing and how they're receiving this and becoming audience focused, that shift happens because then we worry less about the voice wobble or the handshake. I had a client, let's call her Anne, who we worked for quite a long time on voice wobbles and hand nervousness, and at some point she came into a coaching session and went, you know what, I've realized I've been looking at the wall. I'm like a those car guys who go around the tracks really fast, you know what I mean. I'm looking at the wall and I'm crashing into the wall because I'm paying attention to my hands and I'm paying attention to my voice. When we stopped her talking, paying attention to her hands and her voice, stop looking at the wall, start looking at where you're going, she noticed the audience. And then she became much clearer because the meaning of my communication is the response I get, not what I'm saying. So it wasn't that she was voice wobbly. Nobody cared because they were interested in what she was saying. She had presence. And the third shift that you need to make, and you can make this really quickly. Preparation is not practice. Don't spend 3 days making a PowerPoint slide and no days actually presenting. Test it out for someone. Say it out loud. Say it for yourself. Put it on video. Record it. Do whatever you can. Just move from nerves to excitement. Gesture more. Be more enthusiastic. Get audience focused rather than self-obsessed. And prepare, but then practice. One of these is the most important for you. Take a moment now, take your note, write your notes down in your little workbook if you want to, and decide which one of these is the most important for you and when are you going to do it. In the next video, we'll talk about credibility. Thanks.